Hey guys, I'm here. Welcome back for episode 3 of House of the Dragon. We're going to go ahead and hop into this episode, guys. If you want to see the full-length reaction, as always, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, get you access as well. It is a watch-along format, so you will need your own footage to sync up the time codes and react to the entire episode. Over there, you get the same thing for all the other shows and movies that we cover on the channel. You also get to suggest and vote on what movies we react to each month. We get monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage, and try to make it worth your while, since you are going to do your way to support the channel. But guys, at the end of the day, I really appreciate it. Enjoy this reaction. To least leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. With that all said and out of the way, let's go ahead and hop into episode 3. Here we go.
Put the boundary stones back. We didn't move them. How did they move
We're watching the same show. What is going on right now?
Can fill their bellies on Blackwood grass. This is our land.
It's Bracken land, babe killer.
What did you say?
Your false queen Rhaenyra is a kinslayer.
Your uncle declared for Aegon. Did he?
We got a little regular old Hatfield and McCoy situation going on over here.
Aegon Targaryen is no true king, just as you are no true knight. You're both craven little. You wouldn't dare.
Oh, whoa. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh, wow.
His brother.
At least they get to be buried together.
Soon they will not even remember what it was that began the war in the first place. But it's easy enough. They usurped my throne. Or was it when the child was beheaded? Or when Aemon killed Luke?
It's a good
or
point.
When Luke took Aemon's eye. We teeter now at the point where none of
Following
it
the dominoes. Yeah, and she makes a very strong point. Eventually, once history gets away from you, it's just going to be all speculation. No one's going to really know how it all began.
There is no war so hateful to the gods as a war between kin, and no war so bloody as a war between dragons. I do not believe she wants it.
She sent a raven.
Wait, are you telling me she don't want it?
What she did is not
Men around her who seek bloodshed,
She permitted it.
as you permitted the murder of a little boy in his bed.
And whether you did or did not, that's unfortunately the story.
Blessed is in King's Landing. Her son sits my throne. There is nothing more to be said.
This is such a shitty situation. Fuck off. Get him out. What? Anyway, it's a shitty situation, no matter how you look at it.
Well, Lord Hand. Only they'll be waiting.
So, how'd your plan go? Succeed? Huh? Did it? Dude, he looks like he's had one fucked up night. He looks hungover as shit, like utterly defeated.
Forgive my lateness.
Important business, no doubt.
You've appointed new knights to the Kingsguard, Your Grace.
To replace those we lost.
The last one needlessly, some might say.
Sir Alric was awarded the great duty of ending Rhaenyra's challenge. He failed to discharge it.
He failed because the scheme was rash.
Perhaps, Your Grace, but we cannot all hide in our castles waiting for war to come to us.
As now it surely will.
As now, it already has. House Bracken took it upon themselves to attack the Blackwoods, who declared for the Pretender.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know that a decree was ever given, so I was a little confused as to why we cut to that shot. That was just those two families, I feel like were just looking for a reason to fight each other.
The Blackwoods
and took this upon themselves. Yes. See, he just said it himself. They've been feuding for centuries. They literally were the Hatfields and McCoys. This was just an excuse to pull the trigger.
What are we going to do about it?
Suggestions, Hand?
Aim to unite these armies and then strike as one.
The great military mind of the Citadel. Do remind me which link in your chain denotes the art of war.
God, this table is chaos at the moment.
Harrenhal is the key to the Riverlands. I will ride out with those I can.
Well, and that's where Daemon's heading right now, or where he was meant to be heading. We don't know that he's still going there after that little spat between him and Rhaenyra, though.
So impatient to ride with so few men. So like to be destroyed by the first stronghold you meet. Bold scheme indeed.
Well, the gods favor the bold.
They did not favor Sir Eric.
What say you, my king?
These two
Take Aemond and
are,
Vhagar will remain here to defend the city.
Good. To war, then. I'll come too with Sunfire.
Egon.
Your grace.
You'll need a dragon.
My plan is not to draw attention.
And what will you do if you encounter one or more of Rhaenyra's dragons?
We will be more like to encounter one if we field one of our own.
That is precisely why you must remain, brother. It's a brave thought, but we cannot risk your loss.
he's speaking some sense.
I'm as fearsome as any of them.
This Jasper dude, he was like, I need a fucking drink. He's also not afraid to say what's on his mind either. He keeps talking, insulting people left and right under his breath. And not even under his breath, just outright.
I was told you turned back from your ship to bring warning. You saved my life.
What is the life of a queen worth these days?
You wish to be rewarded.
As I would think, you would wish to reward me.
You would think.
What price would you set?
A place at your court.
You said your earnest desire was to flee Westeros.
And you let me go. You showed me grace when you could have withheld it. I'm not often surprised.
No. Rhaenyra even kind of smirked in respect as well to her play, too. They've kind of earned each other's respect in this moment. God, that's such a beautiful shot of the dragon dancing in the sun like that.
Are they always like this?
Sea Smoke, my late Lord husband's dragon, has grown restless of late. We cannot know why.
Maybe he's lonely.
The Red Keep is in disarray. They have sent one assassin in the night, and their dragons are ever a short flight away. You must take the little ones further. To Pentos, I think.
When my mother died.
Wow.
I'm sorry to put this upon you. It breaks my heart to send my boys away, but you have seen what may befall them here. I need you to be the mother to them that I cannot. Teach them, train them,
Damn.
guard them as a dragon guards her eggs.
Well, he did come. This is such a wicked location, man. I love it. It's just so, I don't know, haunting. Which is kind of the point. Oh, that's not good.
I'm claiming Harrenhal.
Apparently so. I, Sir Simon Strong, Castellan of Harrenhal, pledge fealty to Rhaenyra of House Targaryen. I swear this by the old gods and the new. Supper is venison with black cabbage and peas.
There's a whole wicked, like lead into this reveal, this moment. Like just getting to like trail the halls of Harrenhal, see the lightning, the storm, and the lighting and all that. It just was such a mood. It was unsettling, and then and here we are. We're having dinner.
If you've not yet surmised, you are welcome here.
And what of your lord? Larys Strong.
Larys Clubfoot is no lord of mine. He's a scourge upon this castle and this family.
And he did kill his brother and his father,
His
so...
father, my nephew, Lord Lionel, perished by fire. And his son, too. It was the first fire here since Balerion ended the line of Harren the Black. Even in summer, we struggled to light the hearths. So, no, you will find no loyalty to Larys Strong here, my prince.
Your grace.
Forgive me, I'd only assumed that as consul.
And we are reminded of the perilousness of assumption.
What then brings you to our corner of the Riverlands?
Harrenhal is the largest castle in the Seven Kingdoms. Or perhaps that has escaped your attention.
Well, it is also, not to be argumentative, in something of a state of disrepair, since your forebear incinerated
that's a little bit of an understatement, man.
Into a state of repair.
Even if we possess the coin, my prince.
He's like, what'd you fuck?
To what possible end?
There are 40,000 swords in the Riverlands.
You should know that a substantial number of those swords have now declared and are presently at war. Houses Bracken and Blackwood have long detested one another.
Why?
The answer to that is lost in time.
I love that little theme. Seems to be echoing through time itself to this very same war, just on a different scale.
If you are successful, when you are successful, what then?
We march on King's Landing and take the throne.
The throne?
It's a big chair made of swords.
Oh, I love it.
May I present my brother, Sir Gawain Hightower?
Sir Gawain, welcome to King's Landing.
How exhilarating to arrive at court after 3 long months on the road, to find my Lord Father, who served 3 kings faithfully, unseated as hand of the king.
How funny about that.
Sir Gawain has volunteered to accompany you into battle.
We have a full complement, Your Grace.
Then you shall have a fuller one.
Sister.
I think she's the one trying to rein him in, and they're also trying to keep an eye on him as well. This is interesting. I have no idea what to expect with any of this right now. Or should I say,
We must press what advantage we do have.
And what is that?
Dragons. Send them all out. Start turning green strongholds to our cause. And burn those who resist.
No. If dragons begin fighting dragons, we invite our own destruction. Fear of it is in itself a weapon.
The value of a sword is not within its scabbard.
You have witnessed firsthand just how vulnerable you are.
You have never been so exposed.
Perhaps it is time for you to think about secreting yourself somewhere safe. While we remain here...
You propose to conduct the war in my absence?
It would merely be a precaution.
It would be treason.
It's treason, then.
You are fortunate you took it no further.
This council would do well to remember that their queen wears the crown of my grandsire, Jaehaerys the Conciliator, a prudent ruler, the wisest of Targaryen kings whose reign outlasted every other, even Aegon the Conqueror's.
God, she's got such a fucking fire about her. I love it. I don't know. Rhaenys just like so commanding, man.
One of those babes is your heir.
A boy of 6 who knows nothing of the sea.
It would displease neither Rhaenyra nor the gods if Rhaena were named heir to Driftmark.
The girl knows nothing of ships, nor even of dragons.
There is Rhaena or there is Joffrey, both soon to be far from the creak of ships and the ocean's roar. We are at war, Corlys. If something were to befall you.
Then it is well that I am a good sailor. I have much to attend to.
Corlys.
Avoiding making a decision.
You do a great service, and may yet find yourself glad to be out of harm's way.
Do not coddle me, Baela.
We each do what we can. And here, I think, is some consolation.
Tyraxes and Stormcloud are young and vulnerable. These eggs are even more fragile. But should all come to ruin here, you will bear our hope for the future.
Your Grace.
Wow.
That horrid procession where the small folk all stared at me. I warrant they thought I had no more right to grief than they do. Surely they lose their babes more than highborn ladies.
The stranger comes for us all.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Helena,
I forgive you.
What?
You're like, huh?
I said that I forgive you.
There are rumors that the king readies himself to fly to war.
What is it to you?
Only that I think it would benefit all of us to prevent our king from being brutally slain by our enemies and his bodyguards scattered to beasts in his court of the ruin. Do you not agree?
God damn, I mean, he's not wrong. He's like, this is fucking stupid.
I was given the Conqueror's name and his crown, so I shall wear his armor to war.
Small imposition before you depart, then, Your Grace. There are diverse rumors whispered on the streets of your city. One such is that Your Grace sends his forces to battle, and in his courage and wisdom flies with them. Another is that his Grace was outwitted by his councillors and persuaded to fly to war with Sir Criston, so the Queen Alicent may reign in his absence, with Prince Aemond at her side. Absurd, of course.
Wow. Dude, what? Dude, the game he is playing right now is...
Tales take on a life of their own, like weeds, unless they are tended.
Well, tend to them then.
First, followed up on his whispers to replace Otto. Now sowing seeds of doubt between him and his own mother and his brother.
Shall we escort you to the dragon pit?
I think mayhaps I shall fly another day.
It does seem wise on reflection.
You could come out with us, my king.
These two fucking dunderheads, man.
You're sworn to chastity now.
Of course, Your Grace.
Wow.
Yes, Your Grace.
But yeah, maybe that was just his way. It was like he's sowing this doubt to keep him from going out. Maybe that was the ordeal, but it's also showing the level of control that these words and beliefs have over him.
I'm the son of Balon the Brave, bastard brother to Prince Daemon and the late King Viserys.
He speaks truth right enough. Look, you can tell by his hair.
Yeah, because I'm their half-brother, you fuckwits.
All right.
So who else doesn't have silver
Like, is he full of shit? Are they conning this guy? Or is he serious? I don't know. Oh.
Here's your other nephew.
Drinks for all! At the pleasure of the crown!
It's nice for you.
Did I tell you I came here as a lad?
I know just the tutor for you, my boy.
Oh, hello.
Her name is Sylvie or Chelsea or something.
There's some, I don't know the name. Oh, oh.
Daemon the Fierce.
Oh no.
So far, and yet you still lie with your very first. Did you fuck her like a hound? You see, I do not exaggerate. Such is the madam's prowess that even now my brother will not sample another. Your squire is welcome to her. One oar is as good as another.
He's just trying so hard to brush that off. What a fucked situation that was. It's that the letter that they had sent that they talked about before, when the guy made the comment about what, the apology for her dead son or whatever. She finally opening it.
We march to make the first strike in the name of His Grace.
I assure you, my nephew will not begrudge me a night of comfort. If it soothes your brow, Cole, we will rendezvous with your army at first light. Or if their wine is good, perhaps a little after first light.
We're exposed.
What?
Cole?
Get to the trees!
Uh-oh. Oh my god. They just made it. Could just start spraying, but then again, once you start that fire, it's not like there's any way to stop it in these good old days. It's not like we got water dragons that could put it out. Dude, he is shitting himself right now. Rightfully so. Oh, they get to live to fight another day.
A good showing, Sir Kristen. I'm in your debt.
They know we're abroad, they'll be hunting. And we must move under the trees and by cover of dark starting tonight.
No fucking inns.
Oh, that fucking glare, he just shot his ass.
Could you be certain it was Cole from such a great height?
It was not such a great height, Your Grace.
You said not to engage, so I didn't. Exactly.
Your Grace. All will look to increase his numbers, and he may call upon a dragon of his own. This is why you must act now, Your Grace. Loose the dragon's root coal out and burn him.
It's such a heavy decision to carry, to have your trigger on such a deadly weapon like that, you know? I mean, people poking you to use it, but you know the devastation that it's going to reap, not just for yourself, but for others. Like the very same people you are trying to fight for as well. A lot of her fathers definitely rubbed off on her a lot. That may be a detriment. It may not. We'll see. Dude, this place sucks. Like... There's that voice again echoing the halls.
Always coming and going, aren't you?
Excuse me.
And I have to clean up after.
Yep. Oh, what is going on? Is he dreaming? Or is this place like fucking with him right now? Or both? Oh. Oh, he's having his own visions, maybe.
You will die in this place.
That's not foreboding. Wow.
What do you know of the movements of Alicent Hightower?
Would you take her hostage or kill her?
I would speak with her myself.
Killing her would be easier. There is one place Alicent goes, outside the castle walls, where you may yet find her alone.
Interesting. Okay, let's see how this goes. Wow. Nice. Must feel so weird being back in these walls right now. Right, when she goes to pray. I don't know why, but for the life of me, I couldn't think. I was like, well, where does she go outside? I don't remember where she would go. God, I'm so nervous.
No.
Dude, if I was Alicent, I would absolutely shit myself right now.
If I could cry out, your knights would find me. I would be taken or slain. But not before I killed you. And then what?
It's kind of it.
Rhaenys has cancelled me. She said she saw in you a wish to avert the worst of what may now come. I am a mother too, and you have yet to answer for the murder of my son. I repudiate that act with all my heart. Of course you do. I'm usurping my rightful inheritance.
You, get the fuck out of here. You're not welcome. Awkward.
My father loved me, Alicent, and I believe he loved you too. Did you betray him at the very last? When was your plan first laid? Was your ambition so keen? He changed his mind, Rhaenyra.
No, you misunderstood.
What did he say at the end? Did he speak my name?
Well, what did he say? Because it would make sense to her if she heard the words.
He was weary. It was hard at times to understand, but he spoke Aegon's name.
He said he was the prince that was promised to unite the realm.
What?
I just
and there it is.
Did my father use those words? The prince that was promised. Did he?
Yes, he did.
All right, can we put this together?
He spoke to you of the Song of Ice and Fire. It's a story he once told about Aegon the Conqueror.
The Conqueror.
Oh, now she's putting it together.
go before you are discovered. There's been a mistake. There's been no mistake. Please.
Oh, she's in denial now. It's far too far gone at this point. I mean, hell, Otto outright knows that this was all bullshit, but it benefited him to perpetuate the lie.
My father has gone from court. Collie's on the march, Daemon.
Yeah, it's just too late.
It's too late, Rhaenyra.
Even though the truth, or at least the doubt, is sown in her mind, it's just the dominoes have fallen, and you can't. It's too late to put them back up. Damn, man, that fucking sucks. What a wild episode. I gotta commend these two for just trying to hold the realm together a little bit. You know, while everybody else is just kind of just ready to fly off half-cocked. Most of Rhaenyra's council is just hungry for some type of action. Meanwhile, Aegon is out here being like, I said I would ride with my soldiers, so I will ride with my soldiers. And everybody's like, dude, please shut the fuck up. No, that's such a bad idea. And I love that at the end of the day, at least, as much as I hate to acknowledge it, when Larys showed up and he in his own way, just like he did with the Otto thing, seeded the idea that made him change his mind about going off on his dragon and seeking that glory. However, at the expense of his trust with his brother and his mother. He's like, hey, people out there, they're talking. You're like, he's leaving off to go on the battle. You know what that means? The queen and his brother are planning to rule in his stead, and now they'll be in charge, And he's like, maybe I don't want to go out there. Well, he got him to stay. It got the king to not go out into the battlefield and risk his own life, but it's making him paranoid. So we'll see. And he's already shown that he can make some rash, emotional, on-the-fly decisions that put his standing into question, especially with the small folk. However, though, I will give Kristen one thing in this little thing. Gawain, dude, he was just like, he was not treating this like the serious mission that it was when he was like, we'll just go stop at this inn, this really busy, famous, prominent little inn. We'll seek some comforts in the middle of all this chaos that's going on. And they're out in just the middle of this field, and he's just like, his eye caught on to the change in the light as the dragon's shadow cast just a blanket over the sun for just a second. And they got out of there just in time, but they were able to see that they are moving, they are making moves, and she was able to get that news back to Rhaenyra's council that Cole is out in the Riverlands heading that way. So, everybody is, it's just fucking, dude, everything that's going on is just so fucking bananas. Just to see, like, the way that, they're all talking about, like, why are we doing this? What did we start it? At the end of the day, like Rhaenys said, after a while, people aren't even going to know what really started the war. Because he's like, from multiple points of view, it could be a multitude of different things. At the end of the day, no one's really going to care. All that's going to carry on are the stories, the memories, and that's really it. And memories change over time, and stories, it's just at the hands of the person writing them. The person writing down those notes. Just like the original book. While this is taking its changes and stuff like that, the original books aren't fact. Those are just, someone's opinions and the information they've gathered from secondhand information recounting these events. None of it is actually what happened, but the accountings of what happened. No one really knows, and no one will ever really know what happens. And I like that is echoed by the opening of this episode. As these two families that have shared this land, and they were bickering over just like, oh, you moved those stones up just so your cows could graze on our land. Put them back. These two little families that have just been bickering for centuries. And this was just the perfect moment for them to ignite their own issues into some, action, You know, like one declared for one side, one declared for the other, and they used that as an excuse to slaughter each other. And then both winded up completely decimated at the end. And at the end, no one even knows when they were talking about at the council meeting, nobody even knows what even started the feud between those families. That had long since also been lost to time. And we're just seeing history repeat itself just on different scales. Honestly, there was a lot of really strong philosophical ideas just kind of thrown around in this episode as we were kind of exploring the way we look back at history and what things are remembered, what things are not, the relevancy of what happened to a thing. At the end of the day, people are only going to remember the thing, not what led to it. You know, it's a lot of that just gets lost. You know, going to Daemon and Harrenhal, you know, the Strongs there, obviously they suspect Larys is foul play and what happened to, you know, the previous lord there, his son, you know, Lord Strong and all that. You know, they're not swearing to him, so they're more than happy to side with Daemon when he shows up. But like, it was such an eerie thing seeing Daemon like just exploring these halls and the lifelessness of it, the emptiness of this vast, desolate castle, the lighting, the rain, the mood, the sound design, all of it. You know, in a way, Harrenhal is very much so like Daemon. Like, it's a kind of this physical representation of himself as well as his life. You know, they are both these physical manifestations of this great grand legacy, but, you know, both keep getting passed over, though, ever since this place was desolated and left to ruin. Like, as grand of a like iconic place as it is, as large of a fortress as it is, as pivotal of a point in Westeros that it is strategically, nobody has put any effort into fixing it up. Both this place and Daemon are full of untapped potential, but nobody's given them that care. No one's giving them that trust. No one's giving them that time or that effort. You know, he even mentioned, it was like, well, why don't we repair it? When the guy was like, this place is just in a state of disrepair, if you haven't noticed. And he was like, well, why don't we try to fortify it, fix it? I was like, well, that's cool and all, but we don't really have the money to do that or the time. In a way, it just makes me think of Daemon. When he got passed over for king, it's like in all these other ways, he's been just trying to prove his worth end on end on end. And it's just every step of the way, because of his emotionality, because of these other things, people never really can trust him with anything. And, you know, he's rash. He does all these other things. He's meant for the battlefield, much like this place. The only use for it anybody ever has, both in Game of Thrones and in this, is just, well, it's got a lot of space to hold soldiers. It's like both him as a person and this place as a location, as a castle, are only useful in their ability to serve battle. That's the only thing that they are trusted with. This place, much like with Daemon, you know, if they were both properly cultivated, like, would be these forces in Westeros that would be unmatched. Like, could you imagine Harrenhal if it was just in pristine condition and just whoever had that would absolutely control everything around that area. There'd be no going in there without dragons, obviously. I don't know. I just think that's an interesting way and I think being here is kind of really putting him on his own, because much like this place that is just broken, decrepit, like there's cracks in the ceiling and the walls. There's some places just don't even have a ceiling, and the water seeping in. All these things are keeping it damp, keeping it like unsavory. And it's kind of like, you know, the cracks in his own armor, like when he exposes himself to judgment, to all these different things, his own reputation, and the way that all this stuff externally that's just seeping into both of them. And again, a lot of this is by his own actions in a lot of ways, these external degradations of his character, because of the way he's handled being passed over for feeling like he's the one that should have had it. Because he should have had it, right? So like it's like the frustration and the way that he acts out, whether he's being genuine or not, no one's going to trust him enough to give him the benefit of the doubt. Multiple times we have been played as the audience, just like the people, to make the assumptions of Daemon based on his reputation alone, rather than actually seen it. And I think that's brilliant in the way that they've done that. Because there's no hard answer, but people will tell you in the comments that there is a hard answer, and there really isn't. You could argue any side of that, but at the end of the day, it's a practice in our ability to judge, and Rhaenyra does it. All the characters do it. Nobody trusts Daemon. So when something happens like this, our natural inclination is to think the worst of Daemon, when we don't necessarily know for a fact that he did any of these things. You could say that he was quoting Daemon directly, but we have no evidence of that. It's just speculation and its own assumption. We don't know if they rationalize their own mission in a way to be like, okay, well, if we do this, he'll at least be happy with that, right? It's a son for a son. It's not the son he asked for, but it's a son. It's a royal son. Maybe it'll be okay with that, you know? Like, there's a rationale to be heard here. And I like that because it just accentuates everything that happens in his life. Like these snap judgments about Daemon and his character. Like Rhaenyra did it, Viserys did it, everybody does it. When at the end of the day, we really don't know. He very well could have. And I've seen a lot of people adamantly say that he did, when the hard truth is, we don't know. We don't know what he said. You know, like he could have said a whole number of things. Like he's still very adamant that it was a mistake. And even in his own visions here in Harrenhal, of all places, he's lamenting this decision with Rhaenyra being here, who's being like, I always had to keep cleaning up your messes. And she's stitching the baby's head back together. You know, and we see like tears building up in his eyes. Like the funny thing about Daemon is he's such a rogue-like character that we really can never truly trust him. But that's the tragedy of it all. No matter what, we can never know, and we can never confidently say that he didn't do any of these things. It's like he may have said those words, but he didn't mean for that to be the way that they were interpreted. You know, there's a lot of ways you can look into it. At the end of the day, we're seeing him being haunted by this, and he's having these visions like Targaryens tend to do. You know, these glimpses of them, these specters that are haunting him in these moments as he's in his solitude. You know, creeping the halls as he was banging, his door was locked shut and someone was trying to get in. He opens the door and no one's there. He follows it through and then flash, 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 and then he's in the Godswood. And then you have that one woman be like, you're going to die here, bud. And I think at this point, it's like Rhaenyra who's fed into this, like whether or not he did it or not, that was the intention or not, it still happened. But then she pushes him away to the point where he's at Harrenhal and they still, in their war meeting, have not received any word or update from Daemon. And we don't know the timetable. We don't know necessarily when his arrival, you know, lines up with that meeting. When you put the two scenes together, it does kind of play it like he's just kind of doing his own thing, going rogue as he tends to do. Again, as a result of these things going on, he's wrestling with how to go about this in his own right. He's also trying to use Rhaenyra's position and his position with Rhaenyra to also kind of get his rocks off. When he comes down, he's like, you're going to refer to me as Grace. And he was like, I thought that's not what we called the Queen's consort, but okay, I'll do it, Your Grace. He's here flexing the power that he's borrowed on her behalf because of all these other internal and external factors that he's wrestling with. It's a little bit of power, a little bit of control that he can kind of exert over everything that's going on. And I'm not saying he's a saint by any stretch of the imagination. Like, is he an asshole? Yes. Has he done some heinous things? Yes. But like, it's at the end of the day, it's because of that, it makes these things believable. And it's because of that the people around him don't necessarily trust him. But it also makes me think that this is one of those situations where the more this keeps happening, the more he's going to believe he's these things, or the more he's just going to play into it because there's no winning. So we're not exactly sure, because I love it, because we very rarely are in Daemon's head. He's one of the few characters that I feel like we really are allowed to be inside his head. And I think that is one of the fun things about him as a character, is we really don't know. We can make all kinds of judgments. Everybody else seems to be doing that. I still would believe, and I still lean towards believing that he did the things. The thing is, though, that's the fun psychological experiment that they're playing with the presentation of this, because, like I said, it just makes the audience join the fray with how everybody else treats Daemon. But at the end of the day, who knows? We don't. Just like with the whole, like, what started the war, what started with that family feud. At the end of the day, over time, no one knows. The stories about Daemon, his reputation, will be how people identify him in the future. Like, that's all in the end that will be left of him, regardless of what the truth is. I mean, at the end, this is tragic. And the flip side of that, too, that's mirrored very strongly in Rhaenys as well. Two characters that very much so have this connection, the shared experience that they both have of being passed over, and the way that they're both moving on with it in very different ways. You know, she's, you know, trying to secure her family, secure the ones that she loves, at the same time trying to give counsel and guide Rhaenyra as best as she can, because she's trying to honor the decisions that have been made regardless. But then you have Daemon, who's not exactly doing that. He's using Rhaenyra's position to kind of get his own jollies off, get his own rocks off. You know, he's like, hey, you call me Grace, when I don't believe that was the practice, because it's like, I didn't know we were supposed to call the Queen's consort Grace. He's like, no, you're going to. Maybe I misunderstood that whole conversation, but that's the whole thing. Like, I feel like in some ways he's using this to fill the hole that was left in him from being passed over. So he's using his connection to Rhaenyra to enact his own decisions through her, in a way. Then we have this conversation in the end of this episode where the truth finally comes out. Rhaenyra realizes the truth of those words once she told her what was actually said, and she's like, that's not what he meant. And you can see the realization in Alicent's eyes when she's like, oh, Aegon the Conqueror. Fuck. But she also doesn't want to admit she's wrong. But at the end of the day, it's just too late. It doesn't even matter if she admits she's wrong at this point. There's no going back. It's just too far gone at this point. It is, again, another tragic element of this entire story, where they're trying desperately to avoid any unnecessary bloodshed, but we all know that it's right around the corner, man. But fantastic episode. Can't wait to see what happens next. But guys, what did you all think? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed the reaction. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you're a member of the channel, get you access as well. And speaking of, before you go, I want to shout out our channel legends. Benny Sherritt, York, Coruscant, Melito, Robert Anguiano, Jeffrey Hill, Jake Contrell, Eric Official, Casey Wood, and Russell Crockett. Thank you guys so much for continued support. But that's it for this video, guys. I want to see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.